Hey guys, Josh Post here. I want to teach you today how to ride a motorcycle. I want to give you a super simple tutorial for the most basic rider who's probably never even sat on a motorcycle. This is for you. First off, let's talk about what you need to wear before you even get on a motorcycle. I'm going to give you kind of the minimum. There's obviously different stages, there's more protective gear, but you want to have at least a minimum of long sleeve and pants and a helmet, obviously. Starting off with the helmet, full-faced helmet is the best, but have some type of helmet on. Moving down, you want to have some type of long sleeve. I have a riding jacket that actually has pads, but at least some type of long sleeve. Next, long pants. I have on jeans because it's a thicker material. They make more intense riding pants if you want, but at least some type of jean or thicker material. And also going down, you want to have some type of boot, high top situation to cover the ankles. So you want to have something protective on the feet. Also, gloves, important. Some type of protective glove, because if you do have an accident, usually the first thing that goes down is going to be the hand instinctively hits the pavement because you're trying to catch yourself. Critical to have some gloves to protect your hands. All right, let's talk about the bike now. The basic things you need to know about the bike, think of it like this. Left side of the bike involves gearing. Right side of the bike involves braking. If you can just remember, left side 4 letters, gear 4 letters. Right side, right is 5 letters, brake is 5 letters. Let's get a little closer view of the bike and I can explain this. Up here on the left side is the clutch, right? This is a clutch. What that is that you pull that in every time you're going to shift gears. What is the gear shifting mechanism? At your feet. So this here piece is your gear shifter, right? So most bikes have one down, and that puts it in first gear, and then from that point on it's second, third, fourth, fifth, right? And then you push it back down to get back fourth, third, second, first. So anytime you're going to use your left toe to shift gears, you're also going to be pulling in the clutch, which we'll talk about when we're actually on the ride in a moment. On the right side, you're going to have the front brake, and that's operated with your right hand, right? And that's going to be for your front brake. Your rear tire brake will be operated with your right foot. That's going to be a pedal right there that you push down to operate the foot brake, and that's going to be the rear. Important to know which one is the rear and which one is the front. But like I said earlier, just remember the right side of the body is all about the braking, left side is all about the gearing.
Now, not everything on the right is about braking, but I'm talking about the levers. The right hand lever and the right foot lever are brakes. But one critical component that you also control with your right hand is the throttle or gas. That's this here, on the right handle grip.
It's going to be how you accelerate, the throttle right here.
Now, where were we?
In addition, your bike is going to have a Kickstarter, so that's what this is. If your battery is dead for some reason with the electric start and you need to kickstart it, that's what that is. You push it down and you do a kickstarting mechanism. Most bikes, however, especially new bikes, are going to have an electric start, just like a car. It's going to have a key, so let's talk about that. The key is up here. You put your key in the ignition right there. You're going to turn it to where it's going to be in the on position. On mine particular here, it has a little gauge which comes on. And just to show you a couple more things before we get going, here's our blinker. So when we want to turn, we're going to click it that way, and you can see up here it shows that it's blinking, and obviously it shows that the light is going to be blinking also. And to turn off the blinker, you push in the blinker switch and it turns off. Your ignition switch is here. This is going to be your kill switch, the red. So if you want to turn off the bike, right? But usually you use the key to turn off the bike. But this is the starter here to start the bike. Headlight switches and whatnot, so a little more detail than we need to talk about for the initial how to get to ride. But just to show you and kind of get you familiar with how to, or what's on your bike. This is going to be your gas tank right here. Different gas tanks have different styles. Some have this cap here that you actually put your key into, and you turn and you pull up there when you put the gas in, right? So a couple things I want to show you with the how to get on a bike and also how to put the bike on the kickstand. Right now it's on a center stand, right? So you just rock it forward, making sure it's in neutral, and it gets off the center stand. There's also this side stand, right? There's the side stand, which you push down like that, and then it makes the bike lean more so you have more of a lean of the bike. To get on the bike, you're always going to come to the left side that is leaning, and then you just kick your leg over and you get on. A couple of important things to remember when first starting. You want to be on a bike that's manageable for your size, right? You don't want some really heavy duty bike that's going to be so hard that you can't even do that and it's going to fall to the ground. You want to be on something that's comfortable and light enough to move around and maneuver. That way you're not overwhelmed with the size of the bike.
Another note, since this video is intended for true beginner riders, for those who don't know, motorcycle engine size is measured in cc's. The bigger the engine, the faster and usually bigger the bike is. My bike is a 200cc and it's good for beginners. Bikes with 1000 or 800 or even 600cc's are dangerously fast and not a safe choice for beginners in my opinion. So start with something small and learn the basics.
You also want to be on a bike when you're first starting out, of course, something you can obviously touch the ground flat-footed. You want to be on the bike to where you can control it with your feet, both feet planted on the ground and ready to go. The bike is going to have mirrors, obviously. You want to make sure when you're getting on the bike you're adjusting those mirrors so you can see behind you, just like in a car. A couple other safety tips. You have your horn, typically on the left side and left hand you have a horn right there. So let's go ahead and get it started. I'm going to put on the helmet. That helmet has the GoPro, so we're going to be able to see what exactly I'm doing as we get riding. Let's start the bike. Turn the key. Make sure it's in the on position. Make sure your gauges and things come on if your bike has that. You're going to have it, make sure it's in neutral. Now, actually, that's a tricky thing I forgot to mention. So to get the bike in neutral, you actually have to make sure that you're down all the way into first gear by pushing this down. But then you're going to have a half click up to put that in neutral. Now that we know the bike's in neutral, you still want to use the clutch, right? Just in case. And you want to push your button here, starter button, and it should start just like that, okay? Let's get the helmet on and let's go for a ride. Always tighten the chin strap here. You don't want to ride with your chin strap unsnapped because that kind of defeats the purpose if your helmet blows off during your crash. We've got our helmet on now. I'm going to switch to this camera now to show you the operation of the bike as we go. Now we can see this vantage point from the view of what you'll have when riding. Like I said, making sure your mirrors are adjusted so you can see behind you. This gives you a better look also of your switches, horn on your left side, starter on your right side, kill switch on your right side, headlights on and off, high beams on and off, turn signal, turn to the left if you want to turn, push it to turn it off. That's typical on most bikes. Key, ignition right there. Another thing you need to know is that usually your bike will have a tachometer. That's what this is right here. That shows you your RPMs. Important because you need to shift whenever you get to a certain RPM. I like to shift at around 5,000 RPMs into the next gear. So first gear, and then if it gets to 5,000 I shift to second gear, etc. I'll show you that as we get going. You got your clutch on the left side. You got your front brake on your right hand right there. Again, your throttle right there. Let's turn the bike on. Give it a little bit of gas there with the throttle. You can see what I'm doing. That gives it gas, right? So we know that it's in neutral, so I can go ahead and let my clutch out if I want. So I'm good to go. Make sure you put the kickstand up. That's something that's common to forget to do. Put the kickstand up before riding. Okay? Now, pretty much ready to go. You're going to put your clutch in. You're going to pull the clutch in with the left hand. You're going to push the gear shifter down one to get it into first gear. This is where people have trouble. If you have driven a manual transmission car, you'll probably be more familiar with how this works. But when you let the clutch out, that's how you get into, that's how you start moving, right? Because now you're in first gear. But if you just do it fast, let me show you what happens. No gas at this point. I'm just going to show you. Whoop, see what happened? It pops. It pops and it dies. Now it's in first gear. And if I were just to let out the clutch without doing anything to the gas, it would do this. It would die and it would lunge forward.
put it back in neutral, and I'm going to show you how to properly get the bike going in first gear. First, there's a method you can use where you can put it in first and you can start walking the bike forward with your feet. All right, and then you can start slowly letting out the clutch with your left hand. You can see with my hand, my left, I'm slowly letting out, and then eventually when you let it all the way out, you're good to go and you're still moving in first gear. That's great just to kind of learn and get a feel, but it's not exactly realistic because you're not going to be doing that in the street. So what I like to do is think of the throttle or the gas over here connected to the clutch with a string, imaginary string. No gas throttle yet. I've got first gear. Actually, it says it on mine. It says I'm in first gear. I'm going to put the hand on the throttle. I'm going to start pulling, twisting the throttle to me to give it a little gas, and as I'm doing that, I'm letting out on the left, so it's connected. Let me illustrate this even more. I'll put it in neutral and show you what I'm talking about. So what I'm talking about, let's see my hands here, right? So when I'm pulling, this is going out. It's like connected, right? So clutch with left hand, shift into gear with your left foot. I put it in first gear. We give it a little bit of gas. We start letting out the clutch. More gas, less clutch, and we're moving forward. Make sense? Connected to a string. More gas, less clutch. Clutch coming out, gas is coming on. Connected with a string, just like this. Give it a little gas, let out the clutch. Start moving forward. Now, even at this point, you don't want to do that because it's going to clutch, pop forward. You're always going to want to let the clutch out smoothly until you get all the way to the end. All right, a little bit of gas. And as you give it the gas, you're going to let out a little bit of the clutch. Keep letting out the clutch. Keep giving it more gas. And you're moving forward. Okay, let's talk about shifting into second gear. I want to shift gears into second. I pull in the clutch with my left hand. I let off the gas with the right hand. I pull it up on the toe. Second gear now, and I'm going to do the same thing. Obviously, it's going to be much faster than that. That way you can keep going. So let me show you how it would be faster going into third gear. Moving it up. Clutch in, toe, gas out. Now gas back on, connect to that string, throttle out. Okay? Now if I'm going to slow down, not only will I have the brakes as an option to slow down, but I also have the gear shift method, which I can downshift to also slow the bike down. So if I'm going to start slowing down, let's say I put it back into first gear from second, push in the clutch, pull in the clutch, push down to first gear, let out the clutch slowly, and now we're going even slower because the gearing itself is going to help slow down the bike. So in order to brake, obviously before you get to a stop sign or something, let's say I'm in third gear, right? Let's say I'm in third gear and I want to stop at this stop sign up here. I know when it's coming up, I'm going to start by putting it in second gear. Whoops. And then the gearing will actually already brake for it. Now that I'm going really slow, I can put it in first gear. All right, and then you're going to apply the brake, and when stopping, put in the clutch, because you don't put in the clutch and you stop, the bike will die. Not too difficult at all. Obviously, your balance is you're gonna keep balance once you start moving, just like on a bicycle. So then you can put your feet on the pegs. And now those are the basics, and it barely scratches the surface. But if you're a new rider, that hopefully gives you some good information without overwhelming you. But keep watching for some additional practice. I'll take you for a ride on a busy street to get a feel for that as well.
Those are the very, very, very basics of riding a motorcycle. Braking, I can use my front brake. You're probably going to use your front brake mostly. A lot of times you can do both in combination. There's more advanced training to know when to use, front and back. Obviously, if you're on some type of certain gravel or whatever in a turn, you're not going to want to do certain braking. That's a little more advanced. My goal today is to show you literally, if you've never even really seen a motorcycle or been on a motorcycle, what it's like to first put it into gear and actually get riding on the motorcycle. Let's do this one more time. All right, so let's talk about how to, again, get going from neutral. Let's put it in neutral. If you can see that, it's in neutral.
Clutch is in. I'm hand on the brake, throttle. I'm going to put it in first gear. And as soon as the light turns green, I'm going to start easing out of my clutch, putting more gas connected on a string, and we're moving forward. Okay, now I'm going to shift to second gear. I'm going to take the hand on the gas, right hand, let it off, and pull in the clutch. Pull up on the gear shifter into second, let out the clutch while pulling more gas, and we're going in second. Do the same for third. And eventually this is going to get quicker and quicker for you. Right now I'm in third gear and I'm just moving along nicely. Let's say I want to put it in fourth gear, right? Same thing goes again. Where I want to get in fourth gear, I pull in the clutch, let off the throttle, click the gear shift, and let it out smoothly while giving it a little gas, right? So every time you're going to use the clutch, you're going to give it more gas. I downshifted there to slow down. Now I'm in second gear. Third gear, you see how I did that? Left hand clutch, right hand gas, moving in concert there together. Let's try this again. First gear, second gear, you see that? I popped the and did that, okay? Now I'm in third gear. All right, we're on our way to riding and having a nice experience on the bike. Be safe out there, wear your protective gear, definitely wear a helmet, and you'll have a great time while riding. Always be defensive while looking out for people who aren't obeying the laws, right? So even if you have the right of way at a stop sign, look for others who haven't stopped yet. Stop. First gear, let out the clutch, a little bit of gas, more gas, less clutch. You're in first, second, same. Okay? Third, I'm going to do the same. Clutch, no gas, pull it up on the foot and move it up. With gas, throttle, give it throttle and let out the clutch at the same time. Connected to a string. Stop sign, downshift to first, get going, and we're moving. Second gear, same. Pull up to third gear, same with the hands each time for a smooth shift. All right, not the best roads to show you guys on because it's so busy and kind of crazy, but that's what you're going to be faced with in real life, right? You're going to have some traffic issues. You're going to have to learn quickly how to downshift. I'm in first right now because the traffic is moving so slow, so I downshifted to first. Now I'm going to shift to second. Good luck riding. Comment below, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Well, let's see if we want to get some takeout as we go, right? Maybe some fruit. This is an interesting bike here. How you guys doing? All right, guys. From Cabo San Lucas, we'll see you next time. I'm only here for a weekend, then back to Southern California. But wanted to show you guys some riding techniques and just a quick how to ride video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you soon. And then I let out the clutch again and I go. You don't want to hit the wall in front of you though. That is pretty much how to ride a motorcycle. Let's do it again. Let's do this again. Letting out the clutch. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Go, go, go. Good.